Good evening, all my plant-empowered ladies. I'm vegan coach Naomi. Welcome to the Plant Empowered Woman Facebook group, where we are adopting a whole food, plant-based, no oil way of eating for serious weight loss and measurable health benefits. So tonight we're doing something completely different. We are having the Plant Empowered Woman Book Club. It is the first of its kind, and tonight we're going to be looking at this amazing book called A Second Opinion by Radha Gopalan, MD. Okay, so I know that when I show books like this, you're seeing it backwards. So it's called Second Opinion by Radha, R-A-D-H-A, Gopalan, Gopalan, MD. Okay, looks like this. You can order it on Amazon. Let me know that you guys can hear me. Let me know that you can see me and that we're good to go on the live stream. Okay, so this is a super interesting book, and I want to tell you, I want to give a shout out to Donna in our group right here, who knows this doctor personally, and she sent me this book as a holiday gift. She lovingly sent me this book, and she just simply said that she thought that I would love it, and I'm so grateful that she did, because I totally did love this book, and it is in complete alignment with the way that I have approached treating my own cancer. It's completely in alignment with the way that I run my health transformation weight loss groups. And so reading it really deepened my understanding of what I believe is true for myself, what I believe is true for anybody dealing with a serious disease. And I want to tell you that obesity is one of these 8 deadly diseases that he talks about in this book. So, and we've talked about that a bunch of times in this group. And the reason that obesity is characterized like that is because it is a driver of all of the other chronic diseases, being heart disease, type 2 diabetes, cancer, kidney disease, liver disease. All of these other ones, they are driven by obesity. It's a risk factor and a symptom. It's both. So, so let me know if you guys can hear me and see me okay. And I highly recommend, I'm going to tell you, about this book right now, but I highly recommend that you guys order it. And if you do and you start reading it, then we can talk about it on the Weekly Wednesday Live next week or on another week. And we can talk about it a little more because it's very interesting. I'm going to tell you why. So here we go. I haven't heard that anybody can see me or hear me. Can somebody give me a thumbs up? Or somebody let me know that you can hear me and see me. I really cannot see that anybody can hear me or see me. So, okay. So here's the thing. This Dr. Gopalan is a heart transplant cardiologist, which he is in a unique position the way that he sees patients. And he's also an acupuncturist and a certified yoga instructor. And this book encompasses about 30 years of his observations in treating patients and listening to them and his own experiences as a patient, right? And so he really, in listening to them talk about their conditions, talking about their thoughts and their lives, this book is called A Second Opinion, and it's really super interesting that it's called A Second Opinion because it could be called that for like 4 different reasons. Number one being is that his job He's the doctor that all the transplant doctors come to get a second opinion on whether the patient is a viable candidate for the transplant. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that this book makes you think about how you might be approaching or treating your own condition in which you are giving yourself a second opinion. And then there's other reasons. So let's get to talking about what is the main premise of this book. Let me know if you can hear me or see me. Can you guys throw some hearts or likes up on the screen and let me know? Let me know if you're here. Let me know that you can hear me or see me, okay? All right. So here's the thing that this book purports, okay? So it's a unique way of proposing treatment for all types of medical conditions, especially these 8 deadly diseases like I mentioned before. So it's a totality of treatment, including Western medicine, Eastern medicine, something he calls you power, which is the you part of the equation, you. Right? So let's take my breast cancer for an example, right? Because I can talk about, how I used Western medicine, how I used Eastern medicine, and how my own thoughts and beliefs helped me get the best of both worlds and combine them and really changed who I am so that I'm not a cancer patient anymore. Okay? So let's take my cancer for an example. So what's cancer? An abnormal cell division and a growth that was in my breast that I could feel, right? So Western medicine understands disease by looking at the biochemical and structural changes that occur in the body, right? And it includes blood tests, scans, screenings, surgeries, medications, and pharmacology of all types. It includes risk factors such as the environment, alcohol consumption, smoking, obesity, your family history, and it even includes diet and exercise too, right? To affect, using all of those ways, that's Western medicine, to affect the part or the place where the tumor has formed, right? Whether it's in your breast like mine, or your prostate, or your uterus, or whatever, right? But we know this is true, right? Just because someone completes a Western medicine cancer protocol doesn't mean that their cancer is cured, right? We know that, right? So now there's Eastern medicine, and Eastern medicine looks at a disease as an energy imbalance. And this includes treatments like acupuncture, chiropractic therapy, massage, herbal therapy, taking herbs, talk therapy and counseling, naturopathy, massage, yoga, Ayurveda, just to name a few, right? And we know that when it comes to cancer, there's been a fair amount of research done on the aspect of stress and negative emotions as a cause of cancer, right? Yet none of the Western medicines address that part of cancer development, right? But just because you reduce your stress or your negative emotions doesn't mean that a tumor that's already initiated is going to stop growing, right? So, and this also encompasses diet and exercise too. So both Eastern and Western medicine both do encompass diet and exercise. So can you think of people that you know, or even yourself that is approaching their health from either a Western medicine approach or an Eastern medicine approach? Or let me know if you have been using a combination of the two. So when I first heard that I had breast cancer, I used the Western medicine approach. I was like, okay, They told me I have to cut the tumor out, right? So it can't continue to grow. They told me I needed to use chemotherapy, right? To kill the cancer cells, and radiation to kill the breast cancer cells, right? And the chemotherapy was to kill cancer that could be in my bloodstream and in all my other tissues and organs, right? So Western medicine looks outside of the person, right? It looks to all these other treatments to try to fix the physical or biochemical or structural change, right? So some people do the opposite thing, right? Where they will only go to a naturopath, and they will only pray, and they will only do acupuncture to try to treat their cancer, right? So there's a lot of people. Some people do one, some people do the Western medicine, some people do the Eastern medicine, and some people do both. Now, I tried to do both because I really had a strong intuition that there was a lot involved in diet, and I had read Radical Remission, which I'll do a book club video all about that book too, in which I learned how yoga and pranayama, that breathing, that meditative breathing and meditation, and focusing on alleviating negative emotions and fostering positive emotions and healing trauma and those types of things, in addition to the Western medicine of the surgery and the chemotherapy, I learned that I would be able to address my cancer from both of those ways, right? But Dr. Gopalan says that there is also you power. It's the you. It's how you live, how you talk to yourself in your own head. It's what you think, right? So each of these different things only addresses one part of the disease or the condition. But if you want a totality of treatment, then you must put them together. Then you're going to want to put them together in a unique way that works for you. And it's not only what you do, but it's who you become, right? So we talked about this in a live stream on habits like just a couple of weeks ago. I'm not sure if it was last week or the week before. And we talked about the fact that you have to become that healthy, fit person, not only in what your habits are, but what you think and what you believe. You have to become that whole person. So I had to let go of my negative mindset that I might have had before, and the self-talk of a woman who, in which cancer could grow, right? So And I had to become a woman who would be lean and healthy and fit and cancer-free. And that's what the you power does. So the super interesting thing about this book is that, let me just see here if I can add a comment. No, I can't add any comments. So I don't know if you guys can hear me, and I can't see any comments. Oh, there's Donna. She says it's who you must be. Yes, you must become this person. So what he said is that was so interesting, is that for each of these illnesses, he found people with a common inner self dialogue. And for cancer patients, you guys get ready for this. For cancer patients, it was, I am meaningless. My life is not worth living. And if I think about that, I did have a feeling like that. I was having a lot of problems with my teenage kids at the time, and I felt that I could not control them and that nobody cared about me. And you might have heard me talk about this before, but I am adopted at birth. And so I grew up with, even though my parents loved me and they were the best parents ever that I could have ever gotten, I grew up with a feeling that I was not wanted and that I was worthless. And so when I saw that in this book, I was like, oh my God, That's the craziest thing. Now, they say in terms of the chakras, in terms of yoga, that cancer, breast cancer, is actually a disease of the broken heart. And I was brokenhearted and having a problem with one of my daughters right before, like in the months that preceded me finding this lump. And so seeing that these different disease conditions have these common inner dialogues was super interesting. But it's not just the personality, right? It's not just the internal dialogue and the personality. It has to combine with the risk factors, right? And all of those other parts of a person's life to create the perfect storm where a cancer cell can initiate and grow unabated like that, right? So, just as I have learned through doing myself, and I've reversed my own disease through curing that sadness and finding meaning in my life while also using the Western medicine, which was removing my breasts, removing the tumor, using the chemotherapy and going through that radiation, and then combining it with the Eastern medicine, which was yoga, which helped me focus on the here and now. It removed my fear, right? Because I was terrified that cancer was going to come back, and I just didn't know how I was going to live my life after that way. So by learning how to focus on the present moment, and so when I first went to yoga, it was simply focusing on the breathing and just being present on your mat. And you start to just focus on what is the breath is coming in and the breath is going out. And, my arms are doing this and whatever you're focusing on, and then all of a sudden you're not focusing on how afraid you are of cancer. So that aspect of it really propelled my healing forward. Getting massage and doing physical therapy and also yoga helped restore my range of motion in my arm, which I had lymph nodes removed, and I had very poor range of motion after my surgeries. And so going to the chiropractor to help restore my balance after being all cut up like that, and to restore my strength. And also, I went to see a counselor. I decided I needed to talk to somebody about parenting and what was going on with my daughter. And I talked to a counselor for 2 years about having cancer and about what was going on in my family. And so you see how I did all of those things that he is talking about in this book. Donna says, that's why two people can have the same disease diagnosis and treatment, but have totally different outcomes. Yeah, totally different outcomes. It's because of the you power. It's how you put together the Eastern medicine, the Western philosophy, the Eastern philosophy, and what you think and who you become, and put them all together. So he calls it the 30-30-30-10, which is 30% Western medicine, 30% Eastern medicine, 30% you power, and like 10% chance, right? So now he says that equation will get you the best disease prevention and disease reversal, right? And we know that heart disease, obesity, and type 2 diabetes are completely reversible. We know that. And what was also so thrilling is that, I developed my own system for overcoming obesity and for, weight loss through a whole food, plant-based, no oil way of eating. But a large portion of that also includes working with your physician to reduce your medications. You have to work with your physician. You have to encompass the Western medicine, right? And then another large portion of it is all about your feelings and your thoughts and your behavior and what might have caused it, and how can you talk to yourself differently, and how can you become that healthy, fit, trim woman, and how can you step into being her. And so when I read this, it was really in alignment with the way I run my weight loss groups. And it really made me know that this is the right thing, to combine all of these things in a way that nobody else on the internet does this. So you can imagine that if you only stick with Western medicine, then you are missing, 70% of all of the healing power that is still out there for you to use, right? Let's say you just do Western medicine and Eastern medicine, but you never change your thoughts. You never think about what do you say to yourself, and what do you really feel about your life? Why has this happened to you? How have you allowed this weight to come on to you? What do you believe about yourself and your life? If you never address that, then you're using 60% of the healing that's available to you, but 40% of it you're just not even using. So it's very interesting to think about this. And so he recommends for each of the disease conditions that there is that a common self-talk, and that actually what he recommends is an emotional cleanse, which is very straightforwardly, he actually says in the book to see a counselor and talk about your feelings and your life, and try to let go of limiting beliefs and things like that maybe no longer serve you. I'm not an adopted baby anymore given away by her mother. I am somebody who people love and need. And so that whole story of not being good enough, or, being worthless, that whole story is just, it's not useful. Whether it happened or not, it's just not useful anymore. So it doesn't behoove me to keep saying it to myself. I have to come up with a new story, a new empowering belief. It's the same thing with a woman who says, I always fail at diets. I always fail. I fail at things. I give up, right? We need to find out a way to rework that. And so that's something that we really focus on in my weight loss groups and programs. So it was really, really interesting to see that. And so what he says about these limiting beliefs is that they become like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if my whole being emits an aura of my life is meaningless, I'm worthless, I shouldn't be alive, well, cancer sets in and sets you on that path to not having a life. So you gotta be careful what you wish for. You gotta be careful what you're putting out into the universe. So let's see. Deb says insurance coverage influences a lot of our treatment choices. Oh, sure, and so does big pharma and advertising dollars, and they say, oh, you feel this way, ask for this pill. You feel this way, ask for this pill. We don't really have an education for self-care, right, Deb? We just don't have it. So whenever you are reaching out, whenever you are looking for the information, like just being on this live stream, that kind of thing, whenever you're reaching out for the information, then you will find it. But you won't find something different by going to the same Western medicine doctor. You want to use those parts and you want to combine them with the other parts, right? So he recommends, that thing called an emotional cleanse, and really talking to a professional about your feelings, your beliefs, and your life, and your place in your own life. And so that you can really take control of your you power, right? Donna says, these live streams are great and you're doing an excellent job of sharing the message. So yeah, it's a very big message and it's a pretty big book. So there's a lot in here, and I'm not really sharing about each of the different diseases. I just wanted to sort of share it in the context of my own experience and my own disease, because that's the only one that I really know that I could put all three parts together. And one of the really beautiful things in this book is that each chapter, each of the deadly diseases has a couple of different stories in it of real people who exhibited this self-talk, used Western medicine, or used Eastern medicine, or used a combination, and used the U-power, or didn't. And he really illustrates how the three intertwine. And so I highly recommend this book. It was very, very useful. And the chapter on high blood pressure and the chapter on obesity, if you're somebody who struggles with food addiction or eating disorders of any kind, or you are stuck in the grips of obesity and you just can't seem to break the cycle, I highly recommend reading this book, reading the chapter on obesity, because like we just talked about, it's not just the food. Sometimes you can be on a whole food plant-based diet and you'll just keep shoveling food in and keep eating and keep eating and keep eating because you're looking for something outside you to fix you. And you really need to go inside. It's an inside job. It's an inside your heart job. That's where the key to these deadly diseases is. So yeah, Donna says his own personal story that he shares is wonderful. And I don't want to give that away, but it's really a wonderful, wonderful book. And Donna, I thank you from the depths of my heart for sending me this book, for thinking of me and sharing it so that I could share it with everybody in our group. And I hope that you guys order this book and really read it. And I really think for people that are in what I really learned here, and I had thought this before, I have had clients that really are in the grips of obesity, and food addiction is something that it has a really high recidivism rate. Like, it'll just keep on going unless you ever get inside. And sometimes the limiting beliefs come from a trauma, or they come from something deep, deep down inside that happened when you were a small child. Sometimes you don't even remember what they were. And so it's beyond my level of expertise. And I had always wanted to suggest, seeing a counselor and seeing a therapist. And now I really believe that is what you should do when you are suffering from a deadly disease. And it was my own intuition when I was diagnosed with cancer to seek the help of a counselor to help me deal with it and help me figure out why me, and help me figure out what was going on with my daughter, so that we could have a relationship and so that I could work through my negative mindset that I had. And I just don't have it anymore. I have become a different woman. And that is the point of this whole book, is to become someone that is healthy. That's all. So it's really so empowering. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this. I hope that you guys read it. And again, thank you, Donna, for sending me the book. And I hope that this was empowering, and that this is a great message for a Sunday night. And this is also the same message that if you have heard any of the live streams with Dr. Patel and I, he is the one who does the Redo It RX at my retreats, at the Redo It retreat. And he's the one who talks about infusing your water with love, and, all kinds of things like that. And so this resonates highly with the way that he treats patients and that he treats himself as a whole. And this is also the statement I want to make with our retreats and my weight loss programs. And so, again, I really love this book, and I hope that it empowers all of you, my plant-empowered ladies, okay? Have a wonderful, wonderful week.